City Library Board of Trustees. First of all, we'll do roll call of members and determine a quorum.
Chairperson Sandy Foley.
Here.
Board Member Pam Graver.
Present.
Board Member Phyllis Patton.
Here.
Vice Chairperson Diane Solinger.
Here. Okay, all of our members are here, and so we do have a quorum. Okay, general public comment. Members of the public who wish to address the Library Board of Trustees may come forward and speak on any topic that is relevant to the Library Board authority. The board respects the right of citizens to present differing opinions and views. Comments may be limited to 3 minutes per person. If you believe your items require extended discussion or action, you may ask a member of the board to place it on the board's agenda for a future meeting. No action may be taken on a matter raised under this item of the agenda unless the matter is noticed on a board agenda as an action item. The chairperson may remove any person who willfully disrupts this meeting to the extent that its orderly conduct is meeting practice. Is there any public comment at this point? Okay. We're gonna have a meeting here. Quick one. Okay, minutes of the previous meetings. Is there an amendment that needs to be made, or is there someone who would like to make a notice for approval? Move to approve, Madam Chair. Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And once again, commend Aubrey for the thoroughness of the minutes.
You do such a good job. You should put that in the minutes too. Okay, modification to the agenda. In our agenda, it's a tentative schedule for the meeting. The Carson City Library Board of Trustees reserves the right to take items in a different order. Items may be combined and/or items may be deleted to accomplish business in the most efficient manner, since we're all about efficiency. Okay, is there a member of the Library Board of Trustees who wants to explain any contact with the public regarding an item on the agenda or business of the Board of Trustees? I will say at this point, Diane and I went to the legislative day, to the luncheon that the NLA put on, and that all of you made sure that everything worked and went smoothly, and Rachel did the decorations. She must have had 100 different quotes. Did we figure somewhere like that? She printed them all out with chalk by hand, none of the, and people were coming up, people on the staff and on the, the legislators and their staff members were coming up asking if they could have them, if they could take them to their office and put them in their office. So it was amazing, and they looked so good. It was tempting to say, no, you can't have them, we're gonna put them in the library. But it was a good chance to talk to people from different counties and talk to our legislators and staff members. So it was a good day, and I think you ended up talking to our legislators.
Yes, myself and Tammy did represent Nevada Library Association as well as the Carson City Library. I sat with Senator Dennis, and Tammy sat with Senator Hume, I think I said his name right, both from Las Vegas.
Okay. All right, so we were out and about. Okay, is there a Library Foundation report?
Madam Chair, nothing significant to report. We have a meeting scheduled later this week.
Okay. All right, Friends of the Library. Phyllis?
Okay, I think this is probably out where you can get a hold of it, but my bookstore manager is not able to be here this evening, and she had eye surgery this morning, but she did send me her report. First of all, our birthday party, which was last Monday, this past Monday, was very successful. We were open all day. We served coffee and muffins in the morning, and then we switched over to punch and cupcakes and cookies in the afternoon. I know we had at least 158 people visit because I printed out 160 coupons for a free book, and we only had 2 left. So I know 158 people showed up. There were hardly any cupcakes or muffins left either. So it was a very good day for that. And then I found out then our birthday sales started Saturday, so it's going on presently. So if anybody's really interested, there's a half-off sale going on across the street. Our very first day, we took in almost $100. So we're still on track to do very well. The food drive that we did a couple of months ago brought in over 1,000 pounds of food, so thank the community for their service there. We've reorganized our paperback books, so they're no longer done in trade back and then small, and you have to look in 2 different places to find the same author. We've combined them all, so if you're looking for an author, they'll be in one place. We have that done. It seems to be working quite well. Let's see what else is doing. With the donations have been coming in. People must have started their garage sales and yard sales and cleaning out early this year because they've really been coming in terrifically. We're going to get 2 more storage space things to keep them out of the weather. And the last day of this sale will be a parking lot sale where we're really going to be trying to get rid of a lot of stuff. So thank you for the donations. We will need to have you continue to come in with them. Slow down a little bit so we can get in between, we can get caught up. We did some sprucing up, and I had my husband fix all the nicks and gouges in the door frames and touch those up. I repainted the front door, so now you will see a bright red door. The back door is still to be done, but we look really nice on our birthday anyhow. The Compass collection is beginning to sell. Got it up, some of them up on the internet now, and 6 of them were sold during the period between February and March, and I haven't gotten this report yet for April, so. We are still talking about doing credit cards. I think we are progressing at a speed kind of like a snail, but we want to make sure that we really know what we're doing and that everybody's going to be able to handle it. So I'm anticipating that you will be able to purchase tickets to see Defending the King Man on September 12th with a credit card. And that's it for this report.
Phyllis, you have done an amazing job with that bookstore. It's, it's a wonderful addition to the community, and it is just really, enabled us to have this. And it's enabled us to have this space, and then we've got that beautiful space and every time I've been in there, there've been people in there browsing around, and it's a good place for right here.
And it's thanks to about 50 volunteers who are working in there on a regular basis. That's fantastic.
That's wonderful.
Some customers can't believe that we're all just volunteers in there.
You're just volunteering, you don't get paid to do this? Oh, we do it for the fun of it.
But it really is, it's a wonderful addition to the community. It's our own bookstore. Okay, next we are looking at a request for the use of the gift fund for some RFID gates, and we've got some other little financial things going there. So,
Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is with the RFID gates, this would be out of the gift fund, the general gift fund that we have. The FF&E request is from what you've already approved and budgeted for FF&E. So the Envisionware, who we do the RFID through, quote is in your packets. This is an older quote. We've asked for a newer one. We've yet to receive it. But what we're looking at is the price for the actual one aisle gate itself, similar to what you walk through when you walk into the library. For near the Spanish collection on that back wall, that glass wall, for the doors that go out to the secret garden. And going back and forth with some staff, essentially one of the reasons that that space was closed to public use was the theft of materials. People would throw them over the fence. And so I really would like to see this space available for the public, to be able to go out there and read. Our Wi-Fi does extend out into that space so they can connect to the Wi-Fi out there. It expands our space without having to actually expand our space, since in Nevada we see many, many days of sunshine, especially this past year, and not very many days of rain. So after speaking with Dana, she does because the other two charges that you see on here are for the project and for installation costs. And she does believe that we can install these ourselves. And there may be some programming costs associated with it, but that's the quote that we're waiting to see. So my request is to purchase gates not exceeding $8,500 from the gift fund. I would guess that they would be more like $7,500 when all is said and done with shipping and getting all of that product here and installed and ready to use for our customers.
So this would enable everybody to go in and out and use the secret garden. Are there questions?
How come the subtotal is up around 15,000?
Because what you're seeing is the second one here, which is a quantity of 8 that is not highlighted.
Gotcha.
That was something that you guys already approved at a previous meeting.
Okay,
Those were for the RFID pads.
so that's done.
Yes.
All right, well, if there are no questions or comments, is there someone who would like to make a motion?
I would like to move that we purchase this gate so we can use that outdoor space.
Okay.
Fear of losing books over the fence, right?
Maybe at a not to exceed?
Right, not to
Not to
exceed.
exceed the $8,500.
Okay. So is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We'll have gates.
Okay, so the second item, what I would like you to take a look at is the FF&E budget, which is under the budget tab in your packet. And it's gonna be after the city and the gift funds. And it's gonna look like this. And it's double-sided. It says FF&E up in the corner.
I'm getting closer, yeah. I need numbers. Yeah. Thank goodness for the stripes. Okay, we're here.
Okay, so if you look on the back of this, you have a total of $12,000 that has not yet been expended. That was part of what you approved as the just strategic plan process of updating different items in the building, including our Wi-Fi and those different pieces. So what we end up having is we have expenses essentially that were lower than estimated. And so that's why we come up with this amount that is to be left. What I would like permission to do is permission to essentially explore costs for a roll-down gate to, and I could take you out there, I would, but right at the front of this entrance, so that we can have this space, the digitorium space, accessible to the public before and after hours. It makes it much easier. There are bathrooms there. They can enter and exit through the door on the other side of the sound booth here. And we wouldn't have to worry about the library. For instance, the pancake breakfast is a good example of this. When we have the pancake breakfast, the library isn't open yet. Pancake breakfast starts at 8, the library doesn't open until 10. And so we open the space, and generally we stuff a bunch of boxes and carts and things so people don't get around. But the idea is to make that cleaner, make it so that the space can be available to the public for larger meetings and those types of things.
Yeah, and I know we've been talking about that a long time for a lot of different reasons.
And one of the things that we had looked at were automatic doors, because if it's something that opens and closes during the day when we're open, it has to be ADA compliant, so handicap compliant. And those doors and the motorized electronic components that we would have to purchase were astronomical. It was a very large chunk of money for what we would be getting. And so I think that protecting our collection is more important than having doors that automatically open and close, and it can just be rolled up like you see in a mall, up into the ceiling piece and pulled down when needed. So,
I think it sounds like a great idea.
I think this is something that we've talked about and pictured for quite a while now. But it would make so much more sense because you could use this for a lot of different things in the evening. Your bathrooms are right here, and you wouldn't have to worry about people climbing over whatever barrier you put there.
which has happened.
Yeah, right. So I think it's a great idea.
Do you have a preliminary price that you?
I don't. I requested a couple from a couple different facilities up in Reno that are local, because I would like to purchase it local and have someone local install it. And I've not yet gotten back with a price. Generally on the internet, what I've been able to find is it's going to be anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 with installation.
This would be a manual.
Yeah.
Good. So what were you looking for in the way of a direction or a motion, Sina?
I was looking for direction to be able to
Proceed.
to get quotes. I'll bring it back to you once we've received those quotes, but just to make sure that I'm not wasting any of your time as well by changing the way this FF&E money is being spent, essentially.
Right, okay, is there a motion?
I will move, Madam Chair, that Sina proceed and provide that this motion provide the authority for her to move forward and get some quotes and report back. Maybe next month? Is that too soon?
No, I think that should be fine.
A second.
All right, all those in favor? Okay, all right, Sina. Get us a gate. That'll be nice to be able to use this. Okay. All right, now, we are on item B, discussion and possible action on the Moss Adams Carson City Employee Efficiency Study recommendations. And you did send us those materials, and I'm assuming they're right up here.
They are in your packet, just as they were presented in the supplemental material. What I put up here on the screen for you to see is the main piece of the findings of the study. I didn't feel the need to print another 50 pages for you guys to again see the study in a board meeting. So if there are any questions, I can zoom in, we can look at that, but that's just kind of a reminder of what they found. So their findings were the library organizational structure is not cost effective because it has too many managers, and their recommendation was to modify the library's organizational structure by reducing manager positions and increasing staff positions. So nowhere in there did they state, that there needed to be a fiscal impact associated with this change. So what you're looking at in your packets is the first page is recommended action on the Carson City Library Efficiency Study. And that is with my discussions with all of you from last time, with discussions from Human Resources and our fearless attorney over here. I do think that the fairest way possible for the employees as well as for the city is what should be considered. So my recommendation essentially is that bolded piece under accept, study, and implement the following, and it's to reclassify 2 unclassified management positions, the programming and outreach manager and facilities and circulation manager, to CCEA librarian positions. So that's the recommendation. How we plan on doing this, which was something that the board showed interest in knowing as well, would be to spread management duties to other current unclassified managers and remove lower level duties and incorporate into the new position. Hire and move 1 unclassified MLS manager to essentially shadow Susan as she prepares to retire. And an unclassified position after her retirement would be reevaluated and filled, addressing the needs in the efficiency studies such as finance. So what this all boils down to, and one of the questions I know that employees have asked about this, because there is some support for this from employees. They're a little unsure, but they feel like it does seem fair to them. They will be Y-rated. What that means is they will still receive the same pay that they're receiving now. And then once their position is vacated, so if they left, then the city would see some salary savings from that position. But there would be no salary savings seen by making this move now.
Would there be salary savings seen in the next, like, 3 years? If these people stay?
If they stay, there may be, it's, the way that it is it's kind of a wash in a sense, because CCEA employees receive longevity pay as well as cost of living improvements, and managers receive raises based on merit. So both of those items kind of work up the chain. It's really kind of hard to calculate out the unclassified, like as they are right now as managers, what that salary may be, because again, any raise is based on merit increase, and that's how well they're performing their jobs, with between 2 and 5%. But the longevity pay for someone who has been in the city for 20 to 25 years is pretty significant, and that you get no matter if you are Y-rated or not. And Y-rated again means you're working out of the pay grade that you've been assigned, but you get to keep that pay. And that is a city policy. That is not anything that we implemented or anything. That is a city policy to keep it fair for an employee that is moved from an unclassified to a classified position. I know Elaine and Andy couldn't be here today, but even Elaine had made the comment to me that she feels like it is fair for the amount of work that she's put in, and she's willing to do what she needs to do to continue to do her job. And I think that, like I said, this is the way we can be the most fair to an employee as well as to the city without doing anything bad or negative to the employee in the process.
I think this is the fairest way to treat the employees that are involved. And looking at the org chart that you made, it looks to me like it's going to be the most efficient way for the library to be working on also.
Are there any questions about the org chart as we come to that? Because what we have is, as of last week, what the org chart looked like, and then we have projected at January what it would look like at that time.
Okay, so it looks like everybody has enough people, the managers have enough people to manage.
That is correct.
And So the work is going to be divided
Among the managers and then among a finance, administrative, like human resources duties individual.
who will be hired after the adult services person who's shadowing Susan goes into that position.
Yes, after Susan is essentially retires, which we would be able to hire as of January.
Does anybody have a question or?
I do want to clarify a little bit as well. So while the essentially person is shadowing Susan, it gives the opportunity, especially as we get closer and closer to that date, for Susan to help with some of these human resources and finance and those types of activities. And that way it's not put onto the other managers all to do everything, but those are the main duties which you'll see. If you look at the one thing that I did add after the supplemental items that were sent out last week was just a list, it's a short list here. So the management duties that would be shifted to other managers, and these are management duties as defined as what makes you exempt in FSLA. So the supervision of these individuals would change. We would need someone to be a human resources liaison, someone to do library deposits, and facilities liaison. So that kind of gives you an idea of the actual true management duties that will be moving from the programming and outreach coordinator and the facilities and circulation manager.
And you feel that this is the most efficient way to run the library?
Yes, I feel that with the staffing that we have and the ability to keep it fair for them, that this is the best way to essentially fulfill the efficiency study and move forward and onward with the staffing that we have.
All right, are there any questions?
Is marketing and graphic assistance like
That is that is correct.
and then Molly's grant is done?
Molly's grant does finish at the end of this year.
And am I correct in saying that the new grant that we're going to be implementing starting in July does not have a person involved as far as paying someone to?
It does not have a full-time personnel component. It
Right.
does have part-time, essentially, instructors for specified
Yeah.
programs like SolidWorks.
Right. But there's no, like the other grants that we've had a person involved that's managing it.
Right. Yes, and no, we do not have that this time.
So I think sometimes that's the hardest thing about a grant. You get the money, and you have the person implementing the grant, and then you need, once the grant money is gone, you've got a person that you need to employ. So, okay, is there,
Are you still gonna rotate people at the front desk?
Yes, there still will be, at all desks, we rotate people in and out.
okay, are there any other questions or any comments anybody wants to make?
Yeah, I have some concerns. I mean, you know, we're gonna do what we're gonna do. But I just wanna go down as noticing that a lot has happened since this efficiency study was presented to us. A lot has changed. probably the most exciting part was that evening where we had the joint meeting between the supervisors and the school board. And we heard a resounding cry from the manufacturing company. We heard someone from a national level comment, we make national news, regarding the Nevada Working Capital Grant, the MT1 project for the solid works, and that whole thing. I mean, the world is watching us. Maybe I'm exaggerating. A lot of people are watching us. We cannot fail. It's huge. And so, you know, the library structure, you know, this efficiency study comes in and they use their template and they lay it on top of what we're doing, and right, it might not be in accordance with their preferences, that might not be cost effective, but my goodness, this library has proven to us time and time again that what you are is very accomplish effective. What you have done, what went down before you, what's to come after, you know, in the future is just, it's astonishing what we do. I mean, I look over there, I see the Love on the Leash sign, I mean, it's just everything, I mean, this room, you know, and so, I don't know, I kind of want to say to City Hall, thank you very much for that efficiency study. Good information, but right now, it is a really difficult time to rock the boat. If we're gonna perform, if we're going to deliver to the MT1 challenges that we have, it just concerns me greatly that at this time, we're going to just redo the whole org structure, and it looks beautiful. I mean, when you look at it, and you go, oh, okay, well, yeah, absolutely, this is better, because you've got more people down here and less people up here, and that accomplishes what we're trying to accomplish. But I mean, just, this seems to be setting off seismic activity at the very core of who we are, and my concerns are, can we still perform? Can we still do what, I mean, you were there, Phyllis, you were there, it was so exciting, you know, and you especially, Sina, being on the hook for having, I mean, now without deputy director, and oh, by the way, I don't know if we ever could have gotten to where we were without someone performing those partnership type of duties and, you know, stirring the pot and making all these connections, but it scares me. I don't want you to burn out. I don't want you to have a nervous breakdown, to wake up in the middle of the night having cold sweats because you've got training to do as an MT1 person, plus 40 hours that you're supposed to be putting in as a, you know, as a deputy, I mean, as the library director. I don't know, I just have these concerns. I just put them out there. Anyway, those are my concerns. Those are my concerns. I'm very happy that we're doing fair. I'm very happy that we're not having to, you know, that right from the get-go, that was my main concern. That nobody got fired and that nobody had to take a pay cut, and we're doing that, and I think that's fantastic. And so I do have I have a lot of peace that way. But anyway, those are my comments.
She's been around longer than I have, but I always want feedback of the people involved, and I want to know if they've been shown this chart, and what has their comments been regarding this training or adaptation. The template, she's right about the template. Template's only a guideline. It has to be adapted for each individual institution. So has there been any comments or concerns regarding the people that this affects the most, which is the staff?
I did ask that Andy and Elaine if they had any concerns that they be here tonight. And I think their lack of being here tonight kind of shows some of that, as they weren't that concerned. I know that Andy does have just reservations of what her job is actually gonna be, because historically we've had an adult services librarian and an adult programming coordinator, manager. The piece here that is kind of, I think as well, is just as unfair, is those positions existed with staffing under those positions to do that work. And youth services, one person was assigned to do that work. So you had two people doing the same job as one youth services individual. So I do think that she's a little concerned about that. Andy is willing to do, what it takes to perform her job. She's a great teacher. She's teaching a lot of the basic classes that I don't foresee changing in this, essentially in these duties. The classification that they are is a librarian. This is the classification that the individuals, and Susan might be able to speak to this historically, that were in this library as librarians. This is what they were classified as before Sarah made management positions.
I was a CCDA librarian when I came.
Actually, I was referring more globally rather than just the two people that are most involved.
Everybody has had the opportunity to look at it if they've chosen to. I have not received any negative comments to myself. I don't know if there's others going around to individuals. I don't have, since you're the only staff, have you heard anything? I mean,
I don't feel comfortable talking for other people, and I can't say that everybody's always concerned with pockets or
Change is different.
it is just difficult. Just the fact that all of a sudden Tammy's out of the picture is gonna change everything. Yeah, but, the org chart, I think, is really reasonable. So, the proposed one.
I think that looks very reasonable, and I know for a fact that Andy is very flexible and willing to do whatever comes along. She will not have any problem adapting to this, I don't believe. And then, other than that, like Susan says, there's going to be change because there's going to have to be new personnel to fill these positions with people that are retiring. So that's got nothing to do with this.
That's a different
Now
topic,
you've
yeah.
got a chart that you can put those people into.
well, and the idea that, is that we would go to try and bring on an individual, onboard someone who can continue those partnerships
Right.
and perform adult services in those types of roles. I think there's very promising candidates that we could bring in who could fulfill all of that. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but I do think that, for instance here, I know Elaine is actually happy that she's going to have less responsibility and not have to do the human resources piece and the facilities piece, and it puts a little, rest to some of the activities that she has had to be so involved in the past. It takes a little bit of stress off of her plate, as she put it to me.
And that's a win, no question, no question. I guess the main thing that has me concerned is the MT1 program. That was a game changer, and we nailed that. And put it all together. It was a great big collaborative effort with the Friends and the Foundation and the computer switcheroo and, and the WMC and all that. And I just, whatever it takes, we can't do anything but hit this one out of the park. And it makes me concerned. I don't know, doing a complete reorganization, it just concerns me that might mess things up a little bit, because we were so, not we, you folks, did such an amazing job the way it was. And I always makes me want to say, hey, come back to us with that efficiency study after we have a track record, after we know we can do this, fine, then let's bring it on. It just, to me, the timing is it's scary. It's a very scary timing.
I understand where you're going with that, but I don't see where these items won't be getting done, where the MT1 won't be getting accomplished.
Okay.
So that is the mission, and I'm not planning on bringing someone on board who can't deliver.
Okay.
We're already changing this to this. Doesn't mean we can't change this to something else as the months progress to cover whatever changes.
That is correct. I mean, all staff, including myself, has other duties as assigned. And so if that means that we are getting volunteers to help us with Love on a Leash so that Audrey can help us with the MT1, that's what that means.
Okay.
So, you wanna help? Is that where we're going?
Volunteer my dog too.
But, so I mean, but that's not something that's lost.
Being adaptable is a
Yeah.
trademark of this particular staff.
You know, the only thing permanent in life is change. And that's what we're doing.
Right.
We can always change back if we need.
Or goes, and honestly, I think we have the components, you know, we got the grant, it's here, it was beautifully done, it's here. We have the components, you can stand up and take a bow now, of people, you know, we have people who are going to implement the grant. And this efficiency study is not going to change the people that implement the grant and the way the grant is implemented. I don't think it will.
In my opinion, looking at the organizational chart, the most thing that moves and changes is the budget, is finances, human resources, is all of these little pieces that don't generally fit into a librarian's job description, which Susan has done some of this in the past, and it is time consuming. And so to get that off of everyone's plate so that they can focus, I think gives them the opportunity to be better, more successful in that.
Because most businesses or most organizations need a financial arm to it, a component. You know, you need somebody who does the payroll, who manages the finances, who.
Absolutely.
We
And,
are one of the only city entities that does not.
yeah, and I think and you know, I think what ended up happening, you know, when we were going for the new library, things changed. And it changed in a way that we could focus on operating a newer, bigger library. And then when that did not work, now we have to look at operating the library the way it is. And I do think we need a financial piece, and I think this gives it to us. You know, it gives us somebody who, you know, if we can get somebody in here in this business portion over here, it doesn't have to be a librarian, but you've got the marketing, you've got the financial piece, you've got the payroll, you've got all of those things that librarians, you know, everybody on the staff took on, when we started losing people, everybody on the staff took on new jobs, different jobs, jobs that did not fit the job description just so we could keep the doors open. And I think this will sort of alleviate some of those jobs that people took on to keep us going.
Well, and I think it's, I don't want to say unfair, but for our managers to have to essentially micromanage their own grants and do all the paperwork and make 3 copies of everything so that the city has what they need and so that state library and archives have what they need, doing the drawdowns, tracking their time, all of these pieces take up a lot of staff time. And to have somebody, I mean, even in technical services, they enter every single purchase order that comes in. And Susan enters her own purchase orders. So if we had somebody, even if part of their time is data entry, entering these into our system, it frees up a lot of time on the staff end. So I mean, that's,
So people can do library stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this solution is so far superior to any of the previous ones that we discussed earlier on, months ago. Those will make everything kind of this one's, it's good. I mean, the cheese is moving, but that's okay.
It's fair.
Okay, any other comments? Do we have any? Yes, I do.
I would like to make a motion that we accept this recommended solution for the Moss Adams efficiency study
All right.
as presented.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Are you opposed, or are you abstaining, or what are you gonna, what you gonna do, girl?
Well, you got your majority, so just I'm gonna oppose.
Okay, all right. Okay, then it is passed. And we will accept the, action on the changes with the efficiency study. Okay, now, Sina, again, your administrative report.
Okay, so you have the budget items here, you have the city budget, you have the gift fund, and then the FF&E as you saw. We are on track to spend our budget, our city budget. There are a couple places that there are overages, and there's many places that the spending is under, and we will be doing a little bit of movement so that we're covering all of that. We had some software renewals come up that were long-term software renewals in the past that we had no idea that we needed to renew. So that did come up, so we did follow through and do that in software maintenance. Are there any questions about the city budget?
What we always told Sarah was spend every penny you possibly can. Don't give anything back.
Use it or lose it.
We're good at that.
Right. Get right down to the edge, so you're not going under. You're right. They don't
Kathy and
get a lot
Rachel
of
are
stuff.
prepared if they need to be.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
So the next is the gift fund, which the first page just shows you kind of the summary of the items, just like the city budget, where you have a professional services line item that generally is when, like for instance, the Friends gave us $3,000 towards the Boys and Girls Club summer reading program. And so some professional services money will be spent from that line item for that. You'll also see, as you approve you approve no A's pay to come from the digitorium budget in the gift fund, that's gonna be coming out of there. The FF&E, the gate that we purchased will be coming out of that line item. Travel is also on here. We have not spent anything out of travel. With ALA coming up, we may be coming back to you in May with items for that. We don't generally need to spend this one down because we can reallocate money that isn't spent in these line items for next year and continue on. So it's not like we lose anything from the gift fund, it's staying in the gift fund, all of it is there. Is there any questions on that? Okay, so then you have the detailed spending out of the gift fund, which I will let you peruse, and if you have any questions, do let me know. Items that come out of there also are if we receive a damaged item and they've paid for that item, that money is deposited into the gift fund, and then the purchase is made generally by the individual who oversees that. So if it's nonfiction, Susan would be purchasing the replacement for that. And that's the itemized is for the whole year, so that you can see for the whole current year. So the FF&E, we already did go over that so that you can see. And then the digitorium budget here as well, you can see that. And then if there aren't any questions, I'll proceed, but I'll wait for you guys to take a look at what you've got in front of you. director's report, some of what you see in here is reoccurring, because they're the same grants that we earned, the same strategic plan that we're on. The recruitment for the 5th position for the library board of trustees did yield 6 applicants, which I think is a healthy number. Interviews will be at the Carson City Board of Supervisors meeting in May, hopefully the first meeting in May. They're looking at getting that on the agenda. And then Tammy Westergaard's last day is June 11th. She received a position in Oregon. And other activities, just yesterday actually, I presented at the Men's Club of Carson City, and that went over well, and it was a pleasure, and they want me back, so did something right. We have also worked with the new e-network and the Adams Hub of Innovation to provide essentially access to our business databases. These databases, redevelopment pays for, but they're accessible through their library cards through the city library. And so we've been working on, getting usage up on those through giving access to these different clientele. And that, even yesterday we had a couple individuals sick, and so there's been a couple coverages on desk that myself, even Tammy, have had to fill as people were sick, people have been out. It's kind of getting to vacation time. It's springtime again. And then on the back, you will see just a communications list of items that have been found throughout our community that have to do with the library itself. Some of those are more recent, like Mayor Robert Kroll's column that was in the Sunday. And that's kind of what's going on in the library. Things are moving along. Today, Tammy and myself met with the University of Nevada, Reno and Washoe County about the MT1 program and what they may be able to implement in Washoe County as well. Are there any questions?
That's good. Okay, that's done. Okay, we have the written report from the deputy director, so
Yes.
we have that, okay?
And from circulation and access services.
Okay, that's there as well. All right. Are there announcements or requests for information? Okay. I will just, instead of reading that again, I will just say, is there anyone who wants to speak now that we're finished up here? Okay. All right. If there are no objections, I now declare this meeting over.